Yo, what's up guys, Insane Game Freak here to bring you another Pokemon Best Wishes episode review, Best Wishes 2 episode review, episode 20, which encompasses Ash beating Trip and Kotetsu beating Bell. Now, inherently, when I first heard that Kotetsu beat Bell, I was actually pretty annoyed, and I wasn't really shocked. I thought it was weird that Trip was literally beaten in the preliminaries, mind you, in the beginning of the damn matches. Now, the reason why a lot of people didn't like this originally was because, for one, Trip is supposed to be Ash's main rival, at least for this region. So to have Trip lose that fucking early in the game just made you go, what the fuck was that? Seriously, that was the basic reaction. And I'll tell you right now, I was inherently mad, I think, at both of those things. Because I could have swore Trip would be last, and they would have a full-out 6-on-6, which they don't. Which is weird, because Trip actually did have, we had all seen like 6 of his Pokemon. So it seemed weird that they didn't do that. In terms of the battle itself, though, that's the other problem a lot of people have with this shit. Because the battle itself is fine, and up until the point you realize it's turning into more of an ass whooping than an actual fight, and then it stops, and then, you know, we have that little moment of Ash recollecting all the not gym fights, but all the fights he had with Shooty. That I didn't mind. And then the two things at the end of the fight is what a lot of people probably were talking about. The first thing is that he combines Iron Tail and actually there might be 3 things depending on how you feel about this. The first thing is that Shooty was gonna have not Survivor, I keep calling him Survivor because Superior throw Pikachu on the ground, and he used Iron Tail to block that. I didn't have a problem with that one at all. There was no problem whatsoever with that. I don't know if anyone else had a problem with it, but I personally didn't have a problem with that. The second thing is the fact that he had Pikachu combine Iron Tail and Electro Ball, which for me, the idea of him doing that, the thing I can see people hating about that is simply the fact that they've never combined attacks before, and for Pikachu to be able to do that within literally just hearing the idea seemed kind of ludicrous in that sense. Me personally, though, I've always wanted to see Ash combine his techniques at the same time, so I had no problem with him doing that. But I could see people having an issue with it. And then the third thing was the fact that that's the only hit he gets off on Superior, and that kills it. That's the one I can agree with, because literally he only got off that entire match, that entire ass whooping of a match, he only got off that technique, and you're just sitting there going, so an electric combination steel move is strong enough to take out a third evolution of a grass starter who is known to have insane defense. Mind you, in the anime is not shown because honestly, that thing never got hit in its third evolution. But we know from the fucking games that Superior is known for its defense and its speed, whereas I think Emboar is known for its attack power and / special attack, and I think Samurott is just balanced. But the whole thing is that you have a Superior who didn't take any hits, unless you want to count the Thunderbolt, which you could technically count, but a lot of people wouldn't count anyway, just because he did technically counteract it anyway. But he used that, and he literally only got that hit off, and that killed it. And then you're just sitting there going, that was kind of disappointing. And in a sense it was, but realistically, I put it this way, I feel weird about that. That's the only part I feel real weird about. But if I look at it on the entertainment standpoint, it didn't stop me from enjoying the fight. I did cringe when Pikachu was taking all those hits. That's the only thing I cringed at. And I'll say it was kind of weird when I saw that Superior had lost purely off of that attack. And I'm just like, well, I can see why people were pissed off at this. Because Shooty not only lost, his Superior lost in such a weird ass way, but he's out of the damn league. Now, logistically, since Ash has been traveling for I don't know how many other regions, 4 other regions, I don't have a problem with him beating Shooty, nor shooting and losing in the beginning of the tournament, because if anything else, I'm going to argue this, at least it's different than what the other regions did, where it was just like, oh, he has to fight his main. Well, no, because they did that with Gary, and technically he fought Gary full on. Richie and Paul were two different, and he didn't really have a rival in fucking, not like a real rival in Hoenn, but like Richie and Paul, he fought at the, Richie's the one he fought at the end. Actually, he's fought all of his rivals first. I think it's just a lot more disappointing here because it was really just a 1-on-1 instead of a 6-on-6. I think that's the main issue, is that it wasn't a 6-on-6 fight. I don't think as many people would be pissed. For the fight for what it is, I don't really have a problem with it, though. Overall, I don't have a problem with it, but I can see why a lot of people don't like the fight. Belle versus Kotetsu. I'm still mad that she lost in the beginning, but at the same time, I'm not as mad as I thought I would be, because the fight showed how much she grew of nothing else. I mean, up until this point, Belle was always known for just relentlessly attacking. That's all she used to do, was just relentlessly attacking. Whereas it's almost the complete opposite in that first round with, I don't remember the name of the Pokemon. It probably has something, it's probably some type of chivalrous or knight pun. But her having that thing use Iron Defense the entire match, I will say it seemed kind of ridiculous that, oh, I'm just going to use Razor Shell and kill it with one hit. I was just like, well, that seems kind of ridiculous. If nothing else, that seems kind of ridiculous. But in terms of her battling, and even Emboar versus fucking Samurai, I'll give that to her. That's why I don't really mind that her first Pokemon lost, because Emboar went in there and beast like a G. The attract thing threw me off completely. I was like, wait a minute, when the fuck did you switch out moves again? What the fuck? And I didn't even know that Kotetsu Samurai was a girl. That caught me off guard too. Because I know damn well Emboar isn't a girl. I wasn't really mad at that fight. I'll probably say the Ash versus Trip one was more offensive than the Bianca than the versus Kotetsu. The only part about Bianca versus Kotetsu I didn't like originally was probably Samurai versus Chivalry, I think is what it's called. Maybe I'm wrong. And the only part about that fight I didn't like was just the fact that he won just using Razor Shell, banging it on the head. And even that isn't that offensive. So I'm not really mad at that second fight. I mean, because Riolu went in there like a beast. Emboar tried. Obviously, that whole fight was meant to show off how badass Riolu is, but Belle, and even her attitude for the most part was fine. They had her do her, some of her gags, but it wasn't. But they didn't drag them out, and they didn't get on your nerves. So I'm a little disappointed she lost, but at the same time, I'm not like mad at her. I'm not mad at the match. So I can see this episode being one of those episodes people were just like, fuck it. For me, it's just straight. They were still enjoyable gym matches, and and it didn't piss me off as much as I thought it would. Inherently, when I first heard these things, it pissed me off. Now, I'm just kind of chilled with it. So, yeah. I'm expecting a lot of discussion for this one. So, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Those are my opinions on it. Next up is the filler episode with Akshu, which just seems weird to throw in the league matches, but then again, the league matches really only have 2 more episodes. It's literally like this is the filler, then Ash versus Stefan, and then like Ash versus Kotetsu, and I'm pretty sure he loses to Kotetsu if I remember right. Based on the spoilers, I know he loses, but I think he loses to Kotetsu. And I think his Riolu evolves into Lucario too. That's part of the reason why, probably. But that is my opinion about this one. Please, no fanboy arguments in the description. But there we go. So this has been the Insane Game Freak. Gotta catch them all. Life's a game, play to win. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.